So here we are in the park. Found a spot that I had to wipe off a bunch of sand spurs from my pants in order to get cozy and comfy. And I'm honestly really proud of it because, wow, what a spot it is. Maybe I'll take a photo of the entire spot that I'm at, which I probably will, and maybe make it the thumbnail or however it comes about. But I decided that today I would get out in nature and paint, because if I were to spend this day inside, I feel like it would kind of be a waste. And it's not that we can't be comfortable wherever we're at. It's that there's an opportunity that I felt a call to, because my nervous system felt that it was getting overwhelmed. And because there's so many transitions and so many changes that are happening for me, but also for everyone else, it's just a sensitive time. The holidays, the new year, it's a sensitive place to be, and it's worth acknowledging how you feel, because you don't want it to consume you if it's not a great feeling. And it's hard to remove yourself from the not so great feelings if you're kind of confined in a space that's like four walls inside, not in nature. That makes a whole lot of sense, because we are free-flowing beings. We're embodied creation, and creation is all around us, but in a confined space, so to speak. It kind of gives the feeling that it limits us. So in saying all of that, it's just your permission slip that you can give yourself to, even though some of us are so anxious and uncomfortable in public, finding a place like this in your local community, neighborhood, maybe even driving a little bit out until you can find a space like this. It's worth it. And that's why I'm here today. So I have a black canvas. I have been so interested in using black canvas for a really long time, and just for some reason have never given myself the opportunity to do it. And I thought, since I have an event coming up where I will be using black light and these neon paints, I thought I'd practice a little bit in nature and get my hands flowing a little bit while I'm feeling a little bit of this overwhelm, in a sense, this nervous system dysregulation in a way. So thought I'd bring you along while I craft and paint, and maybe we can talk a little bit about what's real for all of us in this moment, what's real for me, and maybe it can assist and help in some way. And I also invite you, if you're listening to this, hence also probably the title and description I will use, is come along with me and paint, and let's maybe do that together. So I have white chalk. Actually, what is it called? This is charcoal, white charcoal. And I'm gonna do an outline of kind of what I'm feeling. And to get me into that space, what better place than to be outside, even though, we can hear all of, obviously, some of those things that might at first sound like distractions, but it's all a part of everything that we're doing here. So we can come into the body, and if you want to gently start to close your eyes at this point, let's breathe in deeply into the belly, pulling the air into the diaphragm, and then releasing through the mouth, releasing that air, and then doing it again in through the nose this time, and then releasing through the mouth, and one more time in through the nose, out through the mouth, and just centering yourself in this place and time where we're at together here. Acknowledging the space that's around you and feeling it, breathing with it, and giving yourself this moment to be with the peace that it is that you're feeling, maybe in your mind, in your heart, in your body. Just acknowledge where you find even just a little bit of that peace. If it's in your feet, if it's in your shoulders, if it's in your eyes, wherever it is, find that one place right now and just acknowledge how just breathing into that moment can bring you just a little bit of comfort, a little bit of peace. And that we want to expand that peace by acknowledging it here and now, by recognizing that we're coming to this place to be free with no judgment. And this is the practice here. Art isn't perfect. It's not to be judged. It's just to allow the freedom of expression to come through. And that's why I invite us here right now to do. I want you to open the space, and even if you're not in a place that is outdoors, think of a place in your mind that you can go to. Maybe you already have a special place that you go to in your mind that brings you a lot of comfort, and imagine that place now. If it's sitting under a giant tree in a large field surrounded by nature and flowers, or maybe it's a big open field, or maybe it's sitting by the water, by a lake, by a pond, by a river, wherever it is, just go there. Breathe with the sensation and allow this moment to be present with you, giving you this gift. Breathe in deeply into this moment right now in through the nose. And as you breathe out, open your eyes gently, bringing yourself back into this place. If you want to follow along with paint or just come along with me as I doodle and craft and express what it is that's coming through at this moment. The interesting thing about breathing is it's electric, it's rejuvenating. And what I'm seeing a lot of times is these swirly patterns, these spirals, circles. So I'm just gonna craft a few of those. Maybe go this direction this time. Bring this one down. And spirals are so great because they transmute and transform energy that's unseen. Spirals can take us into parallel realities because I personally think that the world is made up of this spiraling energy flow. I think there's not one direction we're all headed, but several waves and frequencies of a similar pattern. And sometimes it's just the breath that can show us theoretically what we might be missing. So if we can tune into the breath, it gives us an opportunity to connect to that spiral of ascension, of presence. And sometimes those spirals just take me because I don't really know where they're going to go. And that can really be a beautiful feeling and sensation. can look at things from all angles too, and that's kind of a true way of being, especially if we're elevating into more of who we are. We want to be able to approach the world through a unique lens, and sometimes that means we have to see things from really unique perspectives, meaning our limited perspective and what we think is right here, right now, is always expanding. And it's never the same thing. Even if we want to hold on to it so badly, that's why we feel a lot of overwhelm sometimes, is because we're trying to attach meaning to this one present expression and experience, when our expressions and our experiences are always evolving. So we gotta be able to release a little bit, and sometimes it's just one moment at a time to just remember that it all matters, even if it's just for one breath, one moment, one fraction of cosmic perfection. So what I think I'm gonna do, in order to make my vibrance pop, I think I'm going to outline this pattern in white acrylic. I'm going to use acrylics today. I did not bring a napkin or anything to clean or wipe my stuff off with. That's okay, because it's not necessary. It's going to just turn into what it needs to turn into, right? It's all perfection. It's all grace. It's A-okay. Because usually I wouldn't have used so much water on my to use my acrylic. Kind of dilutes the opacity. And I really like an acrylic to be really opaque. I'm not really concerned with it looking super perfect. And I'm really actually using a brush too that's really old. But sometimes those are the best ones because they're tried and true and almost always nostalgic. And I think art has a lot to say about nostalgia because it makes us feel something. At least that's what feels good for me, is like, we want art to move people. We don't know who it's for. We don't ever really know the person it's going to impact. But it's necessary to create because there is at least one person, at least one being, someone out there it's meant for. Someone out there it's going to make sense for, even if it's just one person. And sometimes that's what's so hard about being ourselves, because we are very unique vessels, and we're all born with something really super special, but it can be really intimidating to think about being seen. lot of times when artists paint, or what I get the sense of what happens to me, I guess I can really only say, but sometimes we think how it's going to turn out. We think we can imagine an idea and start to initiate that expression, but we tend to really let go and let God in this really profound and unique way, because I don't think any of my art, when I start to really just fall into it and I'm painting or crafting with whatever, it almost always turns out way different than what maybe I had thought it would be, or anticipate it to be, or imagine it going. That's really telling. I feel like a lot of us can really relate to that. It's really telling because I think that's a great metaphor for life. Talks a lot about releasing control, especially what 2025 has really been for a lot of us is exactly that. I'm sure what we thought 2025 was supposed to be for us was way different what it ended up being. And it's because we had to surrender to it. We can't ever control how it's supposed to go, what it's supposed to look like, you know? It wasn't like we all entered 2025 and we got a rule book. That didn't happen. We had to learn through living it. And we had to be in it and surrender to it. Just like this really fluffy old brush with the bristles. Not aligning and such. It's also perfect. And I love how some of these are turning out actually really more bold, more thick lines than where I obviously kind of imagined they would go. Painting spirals also gives me peace. Drawing spirals gives me peace. It's a very therapeutic symbol, because the mind can really be fragmented. The mind, if we really give into it, takes us all over the place. And we don't really get a flowing stream of ease. Spirals are a continuation, and though you don't really know the depth or the width or height or the boldness or the thinness of it, so to speak, metaphorically, but also literally, it's a condition in a way. And I think what conditions are meant to do, not all conditions are negative. A condition can be something that is structured, that is integrated and ingrained in the unique system that it's supporting. And spirals, we know a lot about spirals, even the Fibonacci, is that it supports life itself, and things are made up of this really interesting characteristic that is so unexplainable to the human psyche. We just can't quite understand, but it does support a lot of peace. It does support a lot of growth. And I don't think that the mind can quite grasp the spiral, so it has to surrender to it. It has to surrender, rather. It has to literally let go in order for this to be. Because every time I try to redirect my mind somewhere else, I can feel it do this thing. But when I'm focused here, and when I'm doing this motion, it takes me with it, and I go with it, and it feels transcendent. It's special and supportive. I don't feel restricted. I feel at ease and relaxed and trusting. And again, I'm not really daydreaming this up. I even didn't know what I was going to paint when I come out here. I didn't know what I was going to paint when I sat down. I didn't know what colors I was going to use. I even have regular colors, but something about the not knowing and then seeing how it unfolds is so exhilarating, and also peaceful. I feel peace not knowing, because the more I have to know, or the more I have to do, takes me away from my beingness and my presence to begin with. just let the craft express itself. Let the imagination come into complete awareness of itself. It has its own vital force energy, I think. Its own perspective. And we're just along for the ride. And actually, what a gift that can be. What a gift that can be. I went to church today, and I think over the last few months, I've gone, I wouldn't say probably more than I did in my youth, but more times that felt like I decided in this way of, this is what I want to do today. Not because somebody else told me to, or that my parents were going so that they wanted me to go. It's been my choice. And I've been, probably less than 10 times since the summer, but I feel it's been giving me a renewed sense of trust within myself and obviously with God, and it's been really supportive to my growth. It's been really supportive of me getting out of my head a little bit and coming into a place that is full of love and surrender. Because in order to be there in general, that's a whole arm and leg use of surrender. And I feel extremely grateful to have a place like that is free for me to be just enough removed from my mind and from judgment and from masking, which I've learned a great deal about myself that I've done for a lot of my life. Even as maybe outwardly confident or sure of myself that I not only am, but definitely appear to be, but there's so many layers to ourselves that I've realized don't get the time and day because we're in perceived delusional bubbles. And that's the recognition of my own doing. That's not somebody else put me there. That was constantly me giving in to my fear or my self-judgment, or maybe what even from my childhood had been ingrained in me, conditioned in me for me to feel. Okay, since I can't really get this open, this was going to be my next color. This video is already at 30 minutes, and I just want to share. This is artwork that has been coming from our chat today. Wow, it is actually so beautiful that I do get excited to want to finish it, and I do want to continue a conversation. However, I think it's important sometimes to, when you are in such a motion of going and moving and breathing, sometimes that also too can put us in a new condition. And again, to remind you and reframe it, all conditions aren't negative, but sometimes it's worth getting up, taking a moment for pause, and breathing with that peace that you've just created for yourself, to acknowledge, like, wow, I just created peace. That was all on you. That was all on me. This is what it is. And the more we can anchor into gratitude for what we've created for ourselves and what we've given ourselves the permission to do, we've really truly gained a new level of wisdom, a new neural pathway, a new condition that is waking us up to our truth. And to be in gratitude really solidifies, but keeps it an open channel, an open portal of beauty and love and light, and that source to just pour through. And I want us all to understand that that's free for us to do at any point, not just because we had to come out into nature and sit here and paint in order to find and move our way through to get there. No, we can do that simply by just pausing and listening and being and feeling that breath elevate us, feeling that moment elevate us, feeling our mind calm. And off in the distance, I can hear sirens, noises. I'm not super far from a main highway. I'm not super far from public, even though I'm tucked away in this really beautiful, spacious corner. I'm still feeling ever more present, ever more peaceful, because I acknowledge that this is what I wanted to feel, because it really anchored me into my gratitude. And I feel really grateful to see this beautiful thing in front of me, beautiful life around me happening, the beautiful life inside of me that I get to witness as well as experience. And being at church today, being at church on Sundays is such a great reminder of that relief that we can have, even no matter what has happened through the week. We can come back to that space, and again, that's at any time. But how grateful I am that there is a space that I can come to that is enlivening and light and beauty and surrender and faith and gratitude. anchor that in right here, right now. Put one of your hands over your heart, one on your belly, close to your root chakra, where your reproductive organs are. And feel the warmth and sensation of your hand on your chest, maybe a little pressure on your belly. Then I just want you to imagine there's energy pulsing through both of your hands, entering your body. That is full of light, full of love, and it's making these connections, connecting your vessel into this present moment, between your palms, between your skin, the sensations that you're feeling. And say to yourself, I trust myself, because I trust the divine to work through all things. I trust myself, because I trust the divine to work through all things. I trust myself, because I trust the divine to work through all things. Gently open your eyes if they were closed. I just want to say thank you for joining me on this journey today. If you received any beautiful downloads, hints, hunches, aha moments, moments of peace, give yourself thanks for feeling that. Let me know how this resonated for you. Say what you're grateful for. Write it down. Share it with me. Share it with whoever else views this video and sees your comments. Really speak light unto the world, because the day and ages that we're moving into, it's more important than what may be appearing to be taking control. This is not living in la la land. This is faith and trust in action. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for this trust. See you next time.